bear with me for a moment because, well, I want to tell you about a philosophy, and it was kind of hard to get this down to 4 minutes, so I jumped it down to 3 main points. But first, before I tell you about the philosophy, let me tell you about the person who developed it. She was a Russian born in 1905. She lived through the Russian Revolution in Russia, the Communist Revolution. She saw firsthand the evils that were done by communism to her people and to her family directly. Her father was a pharmacist. His pharmacy was destroyed by the government taking it away because of oppression. Okay, so in her last year of high school, Ayn Rand, she believed that America was the place where free men could come and live in a place without prejudice, or not without prejudice, but where they could come and live at least, and free, without government regulation or anything of that sort. So, but anyway, that's beside the point. The point of the philosophy is there are 3 main points. First of all, the metaphysical perspective, the epistemological perspective, and the ethical perspective. First, to start with the metaphysical perspective. Now, first of all, you probably don't know what metaphysical is in philosophy. So, metaphysics is the branch of philosophy that deals with the first principle of things, such as being, knowing, substance, cause, identity, time, and space. Simply put, it is the existence of reality. Now, there are 2 main views in philosophy on the existence of reality. One is the one that exists separately and independently from man's mind. That's the more Platonic view. Or you can go with the Kantian view, which says it's the more existentialist view that says you cannot prove something exists separately and independently from man's minds. You cannot prove it, therefore you do not know. There are no truths. There are no real objective facts in the world. Now, objectivism, which is Ayn Rand's philosophy, takes a more Platonic view. It says that things exist separately and independently of man's mind. To quote Ayn Rand from the Ayn Rand Institute, it says, reality exists as an objective absolute. Facts are facts, independent of man's feelings, wishes, hopes, or fears. An example, God. Now, whether God exists or not is not the question. The point is whether God exists separately and independently of our mind. Does he exist because we think he exists? Objectivism would say he exists because he exists, not because we see him or we don't see him. He exists separately from our mind. Now, the second part is the epistemological perspective. Now, the epistemological perspective is the philosophical theory of knowledge. It is the investigation of what distinguishes justified beliefs from opinions. Now, to quote Ayn Rand from her, to quote actually Barbara Bennett, if I remember the name correctly, from Passion of Ayn Rand, she said, according to Rand, reason is the faculty which identifies and integrates the material provided by man's senses. Reason. Reason is man's only way of grasping reality. Objectivism teaches that all of man's knowledge is based on perception. Due to it being a biological mechanism, it is infallible. Now, an example is a mirage. You see a mirage, but that doesn't mean a mirage exists. It's not your eyes messing up. It's what you see being messed up. Your sight is not messed up, but what you see is messed up. If everything is working correctly in terms of man's senses, then we can objectively find truth. And the third part is ethics. Ayn Rand's character, John Galt, in her great book, Atlas Shrugged, her basic view of ethics can be summed up with this quote: I swear by my life and my love of it that I will never live for the sake of another man, nor ask another man to live for mine. Therefore, morally, responsibilities to yourself first, last, and always. Now, altruism is looked down upon as morally reprehensible. It's seen as something that is bad because it teaches that someone has to live their life for another person. Therefore, those other people have to live their life for you. The basic principle of this is your ethic is to be selfish. Most people don't like it, especially Christians, but that's what it teaches. Now, in conclusion, I hope I shed some light on this. I know around Liberty, personal story of mine real quick. I was in class, I said I like to read Ayn Rand and stuff like that, and someone scoffed at me, and so I know like a lot of people around here don't really see eye to eye with the philosophy, or you don't really know who she is. So I would encourage you to go out and actually find out who she is. And I hope those three things help you see what her philosophy is kind of in the short run, because it's very deep and it's very intense. And I only had 4 minutes. So, but the last thing I'll leave you with is Ayn Rand's philosophy. It does not try to paint a picture of what they want the world to be. It tries to paint a picture of what the world is in and of itself, and truly and objectively. Thank you.